We're putting on a show. We're not taking our words too seriously. We're having fun, but
Yeah, but
we also
simply because something
we're
is a
also
show
saying
doesn't
things
mean the
because we
show.
believe them.
No, a show doesn't necessarily mean that things in the show cannot be taken seriously. People, for example, listen to folklores or mythological narrative stories that has been passed on from generation to generation. Some of these stories even written in some of the spiritual books around. Now, the major point of the stories, which is a myth anyway, is not to communicate a literal, understanding in terms of pick the knife and kill your sister, but there is a deeper meaning to it, right? So shows are made in a way to somehow convey some deep meanings. And if people can follow the show, understand what the show stands for, right? They will be able to deduce the meanings, and those meanings can be pragmatically utilized, right? But what I see over there, this is what I see someone doing, and correct me if I'm wrong. What I see is a very nice, catchy heading, which definitely brought me here, so probably will bring other people here as well. And it goes like atheism, the one true spiritual path. And I'm wondering, how does atheism actually connects you to any idea on how to even gravitate your life in the first place? See, so this I feel is a very unrealistic, you know, um, caricature that even though caricatures are definitely, unrealistic, but we have caricatures that communicate truths. And there are some that are just, you know, so unrealistic that, we don't make our decisions or think using them at all. But there are some caricatures you can learn from. The pictures they represent, the symbols, the ideas the symbol stands for, and you can use them for good. But unless you are telling me this panel is purely a useless panel, right? I welcome you into theism, though.
Thanks. I just want to welcome Dim Sum. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Just finished my work and hopping around on Clubhouse. So, what you guys talking about?
Tag is giving me a lecture teaching me about how scientism is the same as religion, just from another perspective.
I think this is not something you don't know, right? Probably you were acting it out unconsciously and somehow tagged it was to, bring back the things you already know and somehow connecting what you're doing right now to the knowledge you have on the subject, right? So that's all I'm saying, that if you say, for example, once you make the presupposition that science is the only field of study that we can rely on, or maybe, let me state it, science is the only source of knowledge. Once you make that basic presupposition, okay, that basically restricts everything to this particular presupposition, and that makes life kind of not life anymore, makes reality itself not reality anymore, because we know very well the way we live our lives. There is more to deeper, experiential knowledge and truths, whether it's relative or it's objective, that doesn't give a rip about science, but are actually true in its subjective sense or in its absolute sense. The way you go on a date, for example, the way you are able to know your mom loves you and you love her. You can explain some part of love in terms of chemical reactions. Talk about oxytocin, and try to use those hormonal structures to explain love. But It doesn't fully address most of the questions that actually has to do with what we mean when we say love, right? So I'm saying that one, once an individual picks up that kind of idea, unless the person somehow to relate with people have to jump from his scientism and somehow adapt a new philosophy like maybe humanitarianism, or maybe some type of philosophies to gravitate his morals in terms of how he deals with people, because that scientism idea, apart from the industrialized world where you can use it in terms of our school systems and inventions and stuff like that, practically you can use it. You can go on a scientific date. You can't scientifically love your mom. I don't know if you get what I mean, or you cannot scientifically experience your mom's love. You get me? And that's why I feel the idea is very, 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 it's too limiting for someone like you to buy into. I don't know if that makes sense.
I would like to quote Tim Minchin. Tim Minchin is one of the great philosophers of atheism. He said, love without evidence is called stalking.
Yeah. So what do you mean when you say evidence? And then it comes to the mind who is seeking for what type of evidence that he's seeking for, right? So, for example, if I'm talking to a friend of mine and like do you love me? I said, yeah, I do. So okay, prove to me that you love me. So I take him to a place and I show him a huge land, and I'm like, this land belonged to my great great granddad. It's something very valuable, and in our family is the most important thing. But because of the love I have for you, I want to share this with you. And wow, that, that evidence to my friend seems the highest. It convinces him. But then I take you to the same process and I show you the same piece of land, and you're like, no, it still doesn't mean you love me. It could be that you're just manipulating me, trying to buy my trust. And this is the way, this is how you do it. Give me something valuable so that I might feel that you actually love me. Probably everything is possible. That's what I'm saying, right? But the way you chooses to live your life, you don't go around testing people's DNA to see if they actually love you or not. And even the same issue has to do with trust, if you want us to dive into that as well. But I feel that the way you live your life, you live it so normally and practically that it goes beyond science. But then intellectually, when you're having a conversation like this, then you want to like sound so scientific and make it look like even when you know um you have you believing in an idea called scientism. That idea itself is a scientific idea, and I think that that's quite I feel that's a wrong way, not wrong, but I feel it's quite weak to go by. So I would not say
Thank you,
love.
Tag. Very deep insights. Decon, you believe spiritually is a pathway away from atheism. Please explain such heresy.
Well, I was an atheist myself before I discovered spirituality. So, and I'm not the only one. There's countless others that found the same just as me. Um, I, I took a shamanic path, using psychedelics.